like busting a McTwist over a helicopter in Hawaii. So are the games of our lives. Honestly, I'm just happy to stick it to Eric during the Slam City Jam. And these are the days of our lives. Games of our lives. Gosh darn it.
Super Mario and Pokemon and all the games that took us to another place and made us want to keep playing all night. These are the games of our lives.
You flew too close to the song.
No, like Icarus. Welcome everybody to the Games of Our Lives podcast. My name is Bill, accompanied by the wonderful, fantastic Matt. Welcome. How you doing?
Even better now that I got to listen to that.
Listen, after an intro like that, I mean, whoo.
Needed that.
We're here talking about a very near and dear game to our hearts. Matt, what game are we talking about this week?
Tony Hawk's Underground.
Thug, baby. Tony Hawk's Underground. An American classic. It is just one of those games that I feel like you had to be there for it. Just fundamental in forming some of the wrinkles in my brain.
There are many creases and folds that are full of only information on this game.
Absolutely. But before we talk about the game, we got to talk about something that's somehow even more important. And that is the news. So first piece of business here. Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 3 and 4 was announced. We talked about this last time. And they confirmed that in both Tony Hawk 3 and 4's levels, it will be a series of achievements or things that have to be done within a time limit. They are abandoning the Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 4 story, and Matt is emotionally dead from that. I think is the best way
How
to
could
put
they
it.
do this to us?
They butchered my boy.
This is like that JonTron and that moment about Banjo 3E.
It does feel that way.
Betrayal. Actual betrayal.
Tony Hawk's 1 and 2, of course, felt amazing because Tony Hawk's 1 and 2 used the 2-minute timer while completing tasks. Tony Hawk 3 also uses the 2-minute timer to complete tasks, but Tony Hawk 4 was new and different because it gave you free reign to roam a level and then go up to NPCs to start quests. And a lot of the quests, to be fair, are things that would be normally done in other Tony Hawk games. Like there are ones where you have to like hit a specific combo line or, jump a gap while doing a specific trick or collect the skate letters. Or Ollie the 5 bums. Who knows? Like,
yeah, but how are they going to work poof slinging into it?
We're not sure. Maybe they'll find a way to shoehorn Alcatraz baseball into our lives some way, somehow. If I'm not sketching on an elephant... Have you ever tried sketching an elephant while it tries to poop on you?
There's also sketching on the professor's car, too.
There is sketching on the professor's car. There's a lot of... I think they introduced sketching in that game.
Yeah, that was new in that game, and I'm pretty sure they had one in like almost every level.
Yeah, they were big on that. So we'll kind of see how this one goes. It is kind of a bummer because it is changing the game from how we grew up with it. But
the nostalgia hit hurts.
Well, you know what? We'll see. We don't know what the price point is yet, do we? Is it
no.
60?
Wait, no, I think it's $60. It's either 60 or 70. I forget which one.
70. That's crazy. I'm hoping that it's on Game Pass, so we can save a couple of ducats and go from there. But we'll see. They're bringing most of the original soundtrack back. They've got some new songs coming through. And listen, they got rid of Bam Margera.
Yeah, that was weird. Why did they do that?
it may have been a request from BAM, for all we know. Like there could have been like some sort of like falling out situation. Really like personal preference. It wouldn't shock me. You know what I mean? I know BAM's gone through a lot in the last decade or so kind of tough
he
to
seems
say.
like he seems like he's kind of pulled himself together though.
Yeah, well, maybe he just doesn't want to like be, pulled back into that or something like that. For all we know, I don't know.
Sure.
I'm not BAM. I'm not Tony. So
Not yet, at least, and especially not with that attitude.
Definitely not with that attitude. Listen. I'm still hoping that they they have a Doom guy as a secret skater. That's right.
Yeah, there's also one of like the Wraiths or whatever they're called. I forget what they're called.
Is that a bad guy from Doom?
Yes.
It almost looks like one of those what are those called? Emmys from Metroid Dread.
I kind of felt the same thing, but it has a different vibe, I think. Like one of them is much more technological, the other one is much more horror.
They're both robots that can probably shred.
Probably.
At the end of the day. So
yeah.
we'll see what goes on with that. Moving on though. We've got some Pokemon Go news. Pokemon Go was sold by Niantic.
Yeah, God.
And they were sold to Saudi Arabia-owned mobile developer Scopely for 3.5 billions. That's 3.5 billions.
That's a lot of money, but also the company Scopely.
Yeah.
When they when they took over another company's game, they turned it into a pay-to-win game immediately.
Oh no.
So there is some hope though, because apparently, and I'm not 100% certain that this is gonna work the way that the company is saying, but the Pokemon Go devs said that the devs are still the same devs.
It's just like a different parent company that's running the show, or?
Yeah. And although I'm like, oh yeah, that's great, because it means it'll be fine. It's not always fine when that happens. So I don't really know if it's going to go.
I mean, we'll see.
I don't really know.
I really don't play Pokemon Go that much anymore. Our resident expert, Tony, is not here right now, so maybe we can get his input next time he's on the show, which could be soon.
Ooh, stay tuned.
Yeah, talking perhaps a little Yakuza or something.
Ooh, those are cool games.
They're pretty cool games.
They're games where you almost learned how to play
Mahjong. Yeah, except I don't know how to play Mahjong.
Almost.
I'm 4 games in and I don't know how to play even a lick. Just saying it how it is. But yeah, we'll see what happens with Pokemon Go. If they turn it into like a cash grab more than it already is, I'm sure people are going to be very upset.
Yeah, the outcry has been very obvious.
It'll kill the player base, and I doubt they'll do anything so sudden that it would shake the player base too much. But we'll see. Time will tell. But historically, when companies get bought out by bigger companies, that tends to be worse for the product and consumer. So,
yeah.
That's just how math is. And now we've got one more piece of news. This one's a good one because I wanted to end off on a happy news note, a good news note. Matt, do you know what's special about the year of our Lord 2020?
It's 1/4 of 100.
That is 2025 is more than 1/4 of 100.
No. The 25. You know what I mean. Don't do this.
Okay, all right. Semantics aside, we have a special anniversary this year, a 30th anniversary of a phenomenal game, one of your favorite games, perhaps of all time. I'm gonna say it's in your top 3, almost certainly. Maybe your number 1 RPG of all time. I'm talking about Chrono Trigger.
Okay.
Chrono Trigger.
This might actually be good news.
Square Enix has said that they are going to be revisiting their classic RPG for its 30th anniversary this year. No details have been specifically revealed yet, but the celebrations could go beyond the game world. So there could be some sort of events going on. But they did say they are planning on doing some sort of celebration. And hey, if that celebration means some sort of re-release or something, that would be incredibly rad, because to this day, it is one of the games that holds up. I mean, how many other games are 30 years old and still like hold up well to the test of time?
Not many.
It's not a ton. And you could play Chrono Trigger today and the pacing is great. You don't feel like you're playing an ancient game. It just feels yeah.
If they give us HD 2D Chrono Trigger, or they give us like the Mario RPG treatment for Chrono Trigger.
Oh. The
The
HD 2D, like that Octopath style, I think would go so insane.
Perfect. It would be perfect.
It would so good. So good.
Oh man. They almost got me with Dragon Quest. They almost got me. But I didn't get it. If they did it with Chrono Trigger, I would take the day off from work.
Dragon Quest 3 2D HD was a lot of fun, I will say, and the game looked gorgeous. But Chrono Trigger is even more beautiful and would just...
The music, too.
Oh, it would go so hard. It would be so incredible. They're like...
I want that so badly now.
It would be a day one, like, automatic, just...
Pre-ordered so that I can have it installed overnight.
Yeah.
We're waking up and playing it.
Exactly. Yeah. Are there any other games that you feel like are getting worthy of that remake treatment that you'd like to see? Something that maybe is from like an older system.
How far back are we going? Are we
let's
talking
say pre-2000? So like
N64?
PS1, N64 era and earlier.
Honestly, I'm surprised they've never remade Super Smash Brothers.
Ooh, like just like an upscale or an HD remake of just the original?
Yeah, with like add a couple more characters, rebalance things a little bit. Give us FD and Battlefield as playable stages.
Do you think releasing a game that had, I don't know, 60 fewer stages and 80 fewer characters would do well for Smash?
Oh, yeah. I don't think you would need a big budget to do that. That's the thing. The key is,
True.
I don't think they would need to work that hard. And the other thing, too, is from a preservation standpoint,
yeah,
it's a lot of work to... Like, I like making custom GameCube controllers. Like, I have mine right here because I was playing Rivals of Aether 2 with it.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I'll put it in front of my face because that apparently... There you go.
There it is.
Yeah. And Ties is right here, too. But doing that with N64 controllers is tough. Like, the stick for the N64 controller has been, like, a really big problem for a long time now. Like, if you want to play N64, getting a good N64 controller is actually pretty tough.
Yeah.
And replacing the parts in them is, I would argue, harder than in a GameCube controller. So
that's fair.
It's hard to get the parts. So, like, just making it playable on, like, a Pro controller on its own does a massive amount of heavy, it does a lot of heavy lifting to make the game more accessible. And that's the kind of game that I feel like you want to preserve. They did like the Mario 64 and Sunshine and, Galaxy and toss those all together.
With the All-Stars, yeah.
I'm surprised they never did anything with Smash, just because it's such an iconic thing. And I know that, like, the first Smash game was huge, but, like, huge back then is not the same as huge now.
Sure.
Like, I don't think they would set up a player count that's larger than Ultimate. But for the amount of money it would take for them to do it, I don't think it'd be that bad. The hardest part would be them remapping the controls to a modern controller, honestly. because the rest of the stuff is already in the game. And if
Right.
they wanted to upscale the graphics, they could. But they also don't need to. Like, the game looks fine. If you want to throw a fresh coat of paint on it, sure. I
Makes
don't know.
sense. It would be fun. It would be fun to play like just like a where it all began type thing, just with like a couple of extra bells and whistles.
Yeah, like toss in a couple characters and call it a day.
Yeah. That would
Like-
be fun.
N64 Bowser would go crazy.
N64 Bowser would absolutely go crazy. Especially if like they made him look like N64 Bowser.
Yes.
Like Polygon Bowser, insane work.
Yep.
I think if I had to pick a game that I would love to see kind of pushed forward into the new era, and they kind of did this, but we don't really talk about this remake because it's just not as good as the original. And I'm talking about Diddy Kong Racing. Diddy Kong Racing.
There was a remake?
There's a remake on the DS.
Oh, that's not real. We
It's
don't
not
talk about that.
real. Exactly.
That's
Thank
not
you.
real.
Literally, in order to get your speed boost at the beginning, you had to take the stylus and like spin your tires or spin your airplane propeller or blow into the microphone for the
Yeah, that's not real. That's actually
hover.
a collective hallucination. That's
terrible.
not real.
It is terrible. Just bad. And they should feel bad. And they should feel so bad that they should just go back to the grind and make a new one for me. And that's what.
Good luck with that. Rare is currently not Nintendo, buddy.
Well, you know what? That's fair and true, but they could do a ukulele racing game. Ukulele 3, the racing game.
That would be cool. Although,
Because jumped
Replayly looks good enough.
they've jumped genres enough where I think Ukulele 3 could be a kart racer. Like part 1, 3D platformer. Part 2, 2D platformer. Part 3, kart racer. It's brilliant. It's perfect. Yes, you can race as Vendy, the vending machine, which would go so insane.
I don't know if I hate that or love that.
Shovel
Maybe
Knight
both.
as a racer would be
That
wild.
would be crazy, actually.
I mean, Platonic, feel free to take this idea and run with it. A ukulele.
Yeah, I'll buy it. I'll kickstart that.
Ukulele kart racer. There you go. Just
Sign me up.
do it. Y'all've done it before. You guys can even put Timber in it. Why not? He was
Timber!
He was supposed to be the main character, probably.
I forget. There was someone
I mean, it
said
was-
that like originally was not supposed to be a Donkey Kong.
It was originally supposed to
Universe
be
game.
like an RC Pro-Am game. And then it kind of like evolved into like some zoo animal racer. And then
Is that why it ended up with all animal characters? I thought it was
Kind
Yeah,
of.
okay.
and then Nintendo was like, I don't know that this is going to sell. Why don't we give you one of our guys to help it sell? Because we need to push this out sooner than later. And so they added Diddy Kong. And, little did we know that, Banjo and Conker were going to be, main characters in the Rare universe. Also, Crunch was just an alligator in the original, like, makeups. They just so, like, serendipity that an alligator was involved while they were adding Diddy Kong. So they were able to just make him a Kremling, which is, like, just great happenstance.
So I thought Crunch was still just an alligator.
I mean, he is, but he's a Kremling because he has to be, right?
Crunch. Whoa.
I mean, he's got to be a Kremling. It's the rule of Donkey Kong. Ain't no gators. Ain't no good gators in Donkey. Even though Crunch is technically a good guy.
Is he?
I
Well, I
mean,
guess he helps you fight Wizpig.
every player character is fighting against Wizpig.
I never thought about that. Okay, well.
I mean, the enemy of my enemy is my friend, I suppose.
Huh.
Hi, I'm Tip Top.
Definitely the villain.
Yeah, absolutely. Tip Top, bad guy. Bad guy, maybe even a worse dad. Shout out Banjo Tooie. letting his.
Oh God, I forgot.
Listen, we don't have to go too deep
Yeah.
into that.
Yikes! Wow, that's actually really bad. Wow, why are they eating my babies?
Weird.
Oh,
Not the O. The O sound effect is too good.
oh, oh.
Speaking of things that are too good,
Yes.
this week's game of the week, we're talking about Tony Hawk's Underground, available starting in the year 2003, and came out on the Game Boy Advance, the GameCube, the PlayStation 2, the Xbox, Windows, and mobile somehow.
Mobile?
Let's be real. The Game Boy Advance and mobile versions of the game were probably super trash and bad and terrible, and we don't have to talk about those at all.
I didn't know that was a thing.
Yeah.
Go away! I just need to see this.
So, while you're looking that up, Tony Hawk's Underground is the 5th entry in the Tony Hawk's Pro Skater franchise. I don't know that they technically consider it part of the Pro Skater franchise or if this is something totally new. But leading up to this were 4 Tony Hawk's Pro Skater games where we talked about it a little bit earlier in the show, where you have 2 minutes to skate around, do a bunch of challenges, and get points and stuff like that. Tony Hawk 4 changed the formula a little bit by removing the timer and adding NPCs with challenges that you could freely skate around to. Tony Hawk's Underground decided to take that one step further, and instead of just having like random NPCs scattered around with challenges, they had a whole story baked through multiple levels, and you followed your creator character and another rival character, Eric Sparrow, through their skateboarding journey, going from just a couple of kids in New Jersey who are just running from skateboard-hating drug dealers, and then becoming champions of the skateboarding world, competing against the likes of literally Tony Hawk and like Chad Muska and a whole bunch of other skaters. And it's quite a riveting story of 2 friends growing up and betrayal and fame and
it's actually
and finding your roots.
Kind of crazy.
It really it's. I mean, it's just like it hits a lot of the notes that you'd like a story to hit, and it does it well.
In contrast, the Game Boy Advance version of the game.
Oh no.
It looks pretty bad.
Does it look pretty bad? Also,
the controls, you had a D-pad and an A and B button and L and R.
Okay.
So we're scraping the bottom of the barrel here to get anything going.
That's valid.
Like I haven't played it, but it does not look like it plays well.
I had Tony Hawk's. What did I have? I had Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 4 for the Game Boy, and for Game Boy Advance, and it was kind of like an isometric skate.
That's what it looked like.
And like, listen, it was okay, but it was not. It did not scratch the itch that Tony Hawk does.
How do you grind? Like there are so many things.
It was like you had to like press like the B button while you're next to a rail after you jump.
So it would just like auto select that over grab.
Right. Grab may have been mapped to the shoulder buttons. I think the shoulder buttons were tricks. Like left was like grabs and right was flips.
So there's no reverse or anything then.
Correct. I mean, tough to do when you only have 2 buttons. Like you had jump, grind, and then 2 trick buttons. Not ideal, but not the worst. You could still like do manuals and things like that. But it was kind of like tank controls, which is a little weird and takes some time getting used to.
Yikes! All right, well that game's dead to me.
Yeah.
But the the real one, quality stuff.
Quality stuff.
I never, no other time in my life have I gotten angry at an imaginary person for knocking me off a skateboard using a tank.
The betrayal.
In Russia.
The betrayal. When
Also, they predicted a lot, now that I think about it.
I mean, did they?
No.
I'm like, wait a second. What did they predict?
Nothing, actually. I just thought it was...
People are sometimes mean in a competitive setting.
I don't know. Tanks in Russia, maybe.
I mean, those have been there the whole time.
Yeah, it's the same tanks probably. Now, anyway.
Listen, it was one of the...
They had tanks.
It was one of the last levels in the game. You get there. So most of the Tony Hawk games historically have had like a lot of levels that were just like named after like a place in the sense of like school or hangar or foundry or, you know, things like that. This level is
Los Angeles.
This level is exclusively like location names. Like the levels are New Jersey, Manhattan, Tampa, San Diego, Hawaii, Vancouver, Slam City Jam, which is in Vancouver, Moscow, and then Hotter Than Hell, with a couple of bonus levels, Hangar, School 2, and Venice, all from Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 2.
Weren't those like hidden on the boundaries of other levels or something? I forget.
I feel they're considered bonus levels, but I don't remember the way in which you unlocked them. Because
or are those the ones you like teleport to after you've beaten story mode?
It may be that, or it may be just like you unlock it as a skatable level for multiplayer mode.
I can't remember.
Yeah, I
need to replay this game again.
I really should, because it's everything I'm remembering about it is fantastic. But the game has you kind of progress. You and well, let's dial this back. Hold on. So there a couple of major changes that were made from the previous Tony Hawk games to this. The biggest change that can be...
It's the first real story mode.
One, it's the first real story mode, which is huge, and we can dive into that a little bit. Two, the ability to get off of your skateboard was introduced with this game. This is the first game where you can get off your board, and you can still, like, run around and... you like climb ladders and jump around and get onto roofs and stuff like that. Do like some like mild platforming that you otherwise wouldn't be able to. You could also extend combos. Like you had a little clock that would tick down, and you had you had like 3 seconds of time where you could like get off your board, run to like another spot, and continue your combo, which feels a little bit like cheating. But
yeah, that is.
But hey, you know what? If Tony Hawk said I can do it, then gee willikers, I'm going to do it as well. Because Papa Hawk said I could. Now, Matt, when you first played this game, what was your experience with the game? What did you love most while you were playing the game?
Oh man. I'm a sucker for stories. Even if they're not that great, I'll get invested in them. As long as it's not absolute garbage, I'm going to be like, oh my god, I love this story. And I actually skateboarded. So, it kind of hit me in a way because I had a friend named Eric who also skateboarded with me. And,
did he betray you?
Well, yes and no, actually. And that was a little weird. Because, like, he went off to be, like, a sponsored dirt biker and stuff, and I got left behind, and I was like, oh, dang, that sucks. But also, Chris and I used to compete with each other a lot with skateboarding.
Mm-hmm.
And we also would compete with each other in Tony Hawk games. So, there is a lot of, like, behind the scenes there. But... the game just played so well. Like, I can't think of any other game that I felt like I was the main character in. Like, I love Mario games, but you're not Mario. You know,
Right.
like I'm not Mario, you're not Mario. Um,
Right. And even in
I
like games like
I felt like
Chrono
it was my
Trigger and
story.
stuff. Right. They did a phenomenal job at that. They really made you feel like you in a sense,
Yeah,
like they were invested in telling the player character story to the player. Um, Whereas a lot of single player games and story element games, you're just playing as like some sort of like Link is Link, you're not Link. Like you said, Mario's Mario, you're not Mario. But this game opens with you literally creating your character and getting on your board.
yeah. I think that was what really did it for me. Is it, especially because I actually skateboarded. It felt more real than it should have, and it's funny because like when you get to stuff later in the game when you're in like Moscow and absolutely insane things are happening, you're like, all right, this is actually just crazy. But there's story notes in there that you can connect with, like, you know what it's like for a friend to like be mean to you or like leave you behind or something. Um Also, because you got to customize your character at the start, but also continually as the game went on, like that was always a thing. You could always change your board, and
Right.
like you could play as the skater you wanted, or you could. And did that start in two? We're making your custom skater.
I believe it started in you make a skater in one? I
I don't think so.
I don't think you could make a skater in one. I'm pretty sure you could make a custom skater in two.
Yeah, I thought so too. But yeah, like being able to customize it more, and then having access to like upgrades as the game went on.
Right.
Um, Also getting pro skaters into the story and like calling on them to like go back to your roots and help you out and like build up the scene from home and stuff. Like there was just something so raw about being able to go get Mike V and be like, "All right, let's go do this."
Yeah, so the way the story kind of goes, and like feel free to correct me if I'm wrong anywhere. You and Eric are growing up in the skateboarding world, and you're going like level to level. You're being introduced to professional skateboarders along the way, doing challenges for them, and like every like second or third level included some sort of tournament. So you have your first amateur tournament in Tampa where you meet
And
Bam Mar.
that's where the like the big pro am tournament is. The Tampa Am is a real thing.
Right, and I'll never forget. Um, this was the first video game I ever played that had swear words in the video game. Um, Listen, 2003 was a crazy time in the Bill household, and when Bam Margera said the S word, I was like, this is the coolest game I've ever played in my life. And
That's what does it.
listen, when you're an impressionable 13-year-old youth, uh Bam Margera saying like that trick was the S. It's a pretty radical moment in a young child's life.
Did I ever tell you I like went to an Element demo that Bam was at and I saw CKY play?
That's awesome.
My board got stolen at that event.
That is less awesome.
We were told just to leave all of our stuff outside the venue of the concert part because it was like in this giant skate park slash paintball slash like fake hockey place. It was weird. It was a crazy
Huh.
place in New Jersey.
Yeah.
Bam and the Element team were there and they did their demo, and then after the demo, CKY had a concert, so we left all of our stuff outside where the concert was because that's what the people at the place told us to do, and someone took my board.
Well, that sucks. It was probably
The event was
Eric.
really cool though.
It was probably Eric
Because
Sparrow.
actually, you know what? full circle. Eric stole it.
It was Eric, that son of a biscuit. Can't believe it would happen like that.
I thought you were gonna break for a second there, Bill.
Almost.
Strong feelings about Eric.
Listen, Eric, you end up beating him in the tournaments. You guys are kind of like racing throughout these levels, like gaining sponsorships, and you're all kind of like competing about like getting the biggest sponsor. And then
He's also snaking you along the way. Like he finds out what you're doing because you're trying to help him out too at the beginning.
I think he like steals your trick or something like that. Like you kind of like build a custom trick, and then he steals it and uses it in a competition to like beat you story wise. And then you end up like losing all of your sponsors, but all the pro skaters love you because you've been helping them out throughout your journey, you know, catching their fish and jumping over the bums and doing a 50-50 rail on a police car while giving them the middle finger. Whatever the pro skater needed you to do to help them with their problems.
Yep.
They were incredibly okay. Like there were some silly problems, but they were fun. And
didn't one of them have you like try to knock birds off of like the power line or something?
I think one was like mad about birds pooping on the railings,
Pooping on the
and you
skate
had
park.
to like grind on the poop
You have to
spots.
grind the power lines to get rid of the birds.
Right. Like, listen, real world problems, obviously. But the skaters remembered that you did that and not that bum Eric who stole your trick. So they helped you create the most epic skate video. Right? Was that like you make like the epic skate video where it's like you go to like...
And you get to pick which pros are in it.
You go to like a handful of levels.
Rodney Mullen, obviously.
You had to pick like 7 or 8 of the 15 skaters.
No, you get to pick 6 or 7 and Rodney Mullen.
Okay. I think I always went with like Rodney Mullen was always fun because he always did all of like the manual stuff and all like the flatland tricks and things. Those were really, really fun to do in Tony Hawk. I feel like Bob Burnquist always had some sort of loop-de-loop. And
or some crazy giant thing
huge
that no one
air
else
gap.
would to try.
Like a huge air gap, but like
yeah,
silly.
He was the one that had the mega ramp at his house.
Right.
He still does, actually.
I was gonna say, I'm pretty sure he does.
Mega ramp.
And you know, it was just fun to do. I think one of them had you like do like a super stair set.
That was probably Jeff Rowley or Andrew Reynolds.
Possibly. But like each pro had like a different trick, and you had to do a handful of them, and then you submitted the skate video, and then everybody's like, actually, you, the player character, you're the best skater in the world. Eric's a freaking bum. Yeah, everybody boo that man. And
then they collectively booed, and then he goes back home and
New
gets
Jersey
dunked on.
catches on fire at some point, if I remember correctly. And
they just call that Tuesday.
yeah, well, yeah, the folks in New Jersey, they know better. You would hope. But then Eric loses because he's a bum, and you know, he goes back to New Jersey and wallows away in filth while you hang out with your skate friends that you made along the way. And yeah, and then you go to a Sweet Kiss concert at the very end.
Oh god, I forgot.
Because the last level, for some reason, is literally just a concert stage in Australia called Hotter Than Hell. And they did like a full animated version of Kiss performing like 2 or 3 different songs. And it was weird.
For reasons I will never understand.
It is, I'll say this, it is by far one of the worst levels in a Tony Hawk game. Like, it is just like not well laid out for like skateboarding, but the vibes were
I don't
immaculate.
think anything will ever be worse than that the Bull Run level.
Ooh,
park.
Madrid in Tony Hawk 2?
Yeah, I hated that level.
Where it like had the bull running around the loop, but there was like still like the skate park in the middle.
Yeah, I did not like that level.
That was a final level that really scratched some heads. It was no Area 51, that's for sure.
Yeah, Area 51 was sick.
Area 51's so rad. But yeah, I mean, it was a lot of fun, and it's cool because with Tony Hawk Underground, they found success, and decided to throw it all away with the next game.
Oh God, that's an entirely different story. But man, did they throw it away!
Tony Hawk.
Tony Hawk Underground 2 was basically Bam Margera and Jesse Ventura's I Can't Believe It's Not Skateboarding, the game.
It was literally Bam Margera's Jackass is what it felt like. Some people swear to it and like they love it, but it is just, it doesn't
And those
have.
people are wrong.
Yeah, 100%. The game just doesn't have the heart and soul that
It just felt like
Underground.
a cash grab.
You know what? It did. Like, they definitely were cashing in on Bam Margera's height of popularity at the time. Because...
And Jesse Ventura, because he had that show. Like, he had a show where he was making crazy, like, bikes and stuff.
Right. And, like, yeah, I think some of, like, the Jackass guys were playable characters. Like, I'm pretty sure, like, Wee Man was there. And a couple of the other characters were skatable. I think you could be Steve-O and stuff like that.
They did skate.
They did. They very much did. But listen, it's not Underground 1. And listen, we could always talk about American Wasteland another time, which feels like a true sequel to Underground.
Yeah, that game. Also, the only one I know of where you get a girlfriend.
It's true. It's true.
Interesting premise in that game.
You know what though? They let you go from level to level without loading screens. They just had loading zones instead.
That was still better though.
Oh, 100%, because
it was much faster.
Listen, did I put on infinite balance and infinite grind so I could see if I could combo my way through every single level in one continuous combo? Yes, I did. Was it very hard? Yes, it was.
But did you do it?
Of course.
Well done.
It was so much fun.
Now take off the training wheels.
Oh, geez. Doing it without any balance assist feels like it would be impossible, because you literally need to manual and or grind for like a minute straight in several locations, which is just not possible at all. And I'm pretty sure Underground is Metacritic's highest rated Tony Hawk game. It may be 1 and 2 remake at this point in time, but I mean, this got like 85 and above on a lot of score situations here. I played the game on
good for a game of that type too.
It really was. And you know, this was, maybe it was like more of like a Tony Hawk fatigue than it was necessarily that Underground 2 was a bad game. Underground 2 was a bad game. But
it was a bad game.
But it was also like the 6th game in like 9 years.
Yeah, I was, after I tried playing 2, I went back and I beat Underground again.
Yeah.
And it felt good. I think for a lot of people that weren't as into it as I was, I think it was probably all right, enough. For a lot of us though, I feel like it was just, why are we riding on a motorized Segway?
Yeah, that's what
why do we have a motorcycle Segway?
And why are we doing this in Barcelona?
Yeah, of all places.
Of all places, we're in Barcelona riding on a Segway. A Segway in Barcelona. It makes no sense, but that game didn't have to. I believe it's pronounced
no 10th.
Dang. Barcelona in shambles. Yeah. You hate to see it. What was your favorite, by the way, just speaking while we're on Tony Hawk? So Tony Hawk's Pro Skater and its games had a pretty fun multiplayer, in my opinion, where there were a handful of different game modes where you could compete with friends doing different things. One of them was 2-minute timer, who can get the highest score, which is a classic competitive mode. There was also graffiti, which may have been my favorite mode, which was every piece of trickable furniture that you did a trick on, it would like turn your color. It was almost like if Splatoon You combined Tony Hawk's Pro Skater and Splatoon. That's kind of what that mode felt like.
I guess.
No?
I'm just looking through all the characters, by the way.
Uh-huh.
There are a lot of characters I did not know about.
In Underground?
Yeah.
I mean, as far as like pro skaters go, I think the list was pretty straightforward. No, I don't remember a lot of the like secret characters from Tony Hawk's Underground.
There's one called Thud, and it is a cannibalistic humanoid underground dweller.
Oh,
Gene Simmons, Iron Man, Eric Sparrow.
I do remember
Stacy Peralta, as in the guy from Powell and Peralta. Todd the manager, Neversoft chef, Jersey bum, the addict, the dealer, factory worker, security guard, street warrior, headstone Harry, businessman, Manhattan cop, construction worker, state trooper, hotel desk clerk, hotel doorman, DJ Cuber, team filmer, leaf blower, gardener, KGB member, tank guard, Paul Stanley, Peter Criss, and Ace Frehley from Kiss.
I like how they're listed way after Gene Simmons, by the way.
Yeah, like completely separate. This is on fandom.com, so you know.
Also, I'm pretty sure like Stacy Peralta's kind of like your like skater consigliere during this entire game. Like I feel like he's kind of like he's kind of like your go-to guy throughout the story of Underground. Like he's like the one constant.
Yeah, he's the one that's like trying to get you around the world and moving on to sponsors and stuff.
Right. But yeah, do you have any other thoughts or things to really say about Tony Hawk's Underground?
When searching, I found that there is this thing called Thug Pro, and apparently that's a thing I'm going to have to look into. It's
is
like a
that
Tony
like
Hawk mod?
Ooh.
So we'll see. We'll see what happens.
I hit Google on Thug Pro, and the first image that pulled up was Shrek. So I'm nervous but excited.
That sounds about right.
But yeah, I really don't have much else to say. I just like remember, like Underground came kind of during the peak where, one of my cousins used to compete in skateboarding competitions, and
I didn't know that.
Yeah. And I was like, I've loved this.
You had a board.
I had a board. We even had a mini pipe in our driveway for a while. We did. I was too afraid to drop in, but my sister would skate on it sometimes. But yeah, my dad built a mini pipe. It's pretty cool. We had it for like 2 years or 3 years, something like that. We may have gotten rid of it just before we became friends, you and I. Which, bummer timing.
Apparently. The guy who went to Woodward Skate Camp twice would have loved to skate a mini ramp. Did I ever tell you I lost a bet to my dad and he was gonna make me a mini ramp, and then he didn't because I got 1 B+ instead of straight A's. And that B+ was in music.
Of all subjects.
And the number was an 89. 89.4 to be exact.
The most subjective of all subjects. That is truly terrible.
That is what separated me from a mini ramp.
F's in the chat for that mini ramp.
Oh, no. That's the chat for childhood me. Eighth grade Matt would have loved a mini ramp.
Just be like, Dad, I talked to my therapist, and it's all your fault. You should have built that mini ramp for me. An 89.4 is practically an A.
You would have just been like, but it's not actually an A, so I don't care.
Technically correct.
I even said, I was like, my average is like a 93 across all my subjects.
And he's
Isn't
like,
that good? And he was
Dang,
like,
that's rough.
yeah, B plus though.
You hate to see it.
Skill issue.
Well, I guess tip of the hat to your dad for sticking to his guns, but wag of the finger.
Get out of here. Wag of the finger is more like I need like a whole body flailing. One finger is not enough.
Shake of the body.
Ah!
Oh god, he's flailing again.
Rage nap.
Oh no, not a rage nap. Matt, do you have any tips of the hat this week that you'd like to give out?
Yeah, Gigi.
Oh yeah?
She beat Lava Piranha.
Gigi beat Lava
And Paper
Piranha?
Mario.
Yo, let's
Yeah.
go. So we're moving on to chapter 7? Is that or chapter 6? Lava Piranha's chapter 5?
I think it's 5.
Yeah.
We're going to
Shiver City?
Flower Fields next.
Oh, Flower Fields. That's right.
Then Shiver City.
Yeah, you're right. You're right. Flower Fields, that's going to be a tough one.
Yep.
I feel like, you know, that Cloud, I forget the Cloud boss's name, but he's tough.
Puff and Puff.
Huff and Puff. I almost called him Cloud and Candy, but I'm like, that's Yoshi. But
Same guy, sure.
yeah, I mean, listen, a cloud's a cloud. Probably eat him.
But yeah, that's my tip of the hat. Wag of the finger definitely goes to Activision.
What did Activision do?
Okay. What did Activision do?
Yeah.
Activision decided that they didn't need to have the story mode in THPS 4.
Big wag. Big wag. I think that's an incredibly valid wag. I'd be pretty upset.
I get why
about-
they're doing it. It's a lot less work. But you can't steal the soul of the game and then be like, guys, get excited.
100% agree. Like
That's like saying, all right, class, if we all get A's, we'll have an ice cream party. And then it's like, joke's on you. The ice cream is actually the like off-brand froyo. What's that? Everything tastes like vanilla and sour? Don't worry about it.
shenanigans.
Hurt feelings.
Yeah.
Friendship with Activision ended.
I mean, I feel like friendship with Activision has ended a long time ago. They've
Yeah, you're right. They have not done much right in the past decade.
they've earned the
Partnering
hate.
with Blizzard was a bold choice.
A dumb choice.
I love Hearthstone, but man, oh man, was that a dumb choice.
You know what a good choice is? And this is my tip of the hat. I'm tipping my hat to the folks behind Doom, the new Dark Ages game that is coming out. They've announced that, and here's my thing. I think Doom the Dark Ages looks sick. Game looks so rad. I'm not normally like a Knights and Dragons type of guy, but adding a Doom twist to it feels cool. Because putting guns into medieval times feels insane. Just like full-blown psychotic. But a lot of people were thinking like, oh, this game's going to end with Doomslayer going into like a time capsule and then waking up with like Doom 2016. And they said, we're not going to do that because that would mean we couldn't tell any more medieval Doom stories. So it might turn into like a Doom Dark Ages series, which could be really cool. I'm excited for that. I think Doom is rad.
That does sound pretty cool.
Is Doom made by Activision as well? Given that Doom guy is in Tony Hawk's 3 and 4. Am I just tipping my hat to the people we just wagged our fingers at? I'm so confused.
Nope.
Oh, thank God.
But it's someone who has partnered with Activision for a very long time.
Is it EA?
Hey, Bill, what other companies have made Call of Duty games?
Let's see. Activision, Treyarch. Who else?
This is the same people that made Wolfenstein and Quake and Rage.
Oh,
I'm pretty sure this company they weren't like the company that made the Call of Duty or anything, but they like were one of the companies that worked on it. id Software.
Oh, is it owned by Bethesda now? Is it like technically a Bethesda company?
I believe so. I'm pretty sure they got bought by them.
Okay.
Doom the Dark Ages won't end with the Slayer in a coffin waiting for the start of 2016. That would mean that we can't tell any more medieval stories. There you go. There's the quote.
Man, just plowing through a bunch of Mr. Skelly Boneses with a sawed-off shotgun and a razor blade shield. I cannot wait. That's just gonna be so cool.
I'm not gonna lie, it looks pretty cool.
I'm trying to think of a wag of the finger. I got a wag of the finger. This wag of the finger is to that one guy who stood in front of a Pokemon trading card dispensing machine and bought out the entire machine while everybody filmed him doing it. And he was like, "Look at me, I'm a guy who's buying out all the cards." And people are like, don't do that. And he's like, "Well, I'm here first. Blah, 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 blah." If you scalp Pokemon cards and you're over the age of like 12, get a life. Get a job.
And that does not count as one.
And take a shower. Because
several based on the context.
Yeah, highly sweaty behavior. There's no other way to listen. I'm calling it like I see it. All right.
It's a great descriptor.
Like, just get it together.
How would you describe their behavior? Highly sweaty.
Highly sweaty. It's just what it is. Matt, what games have you been playing this week?
Paper Mario with Gigi, Rivals of Aether 2 with Ty, and I am about to finally return the artifacts in Metroid Prime Remastered.
Ooh. I still have to play those.
That's what happens before you battle Meta Ridley. Is
that like the final boss? Is Meta Ridley the...
Nope. I'm pretty sure it's going to be Mother Brain or like a giant Metroid or something. Or it's probably called Metroid Prime if the game is called Metroid Prime.
That's a good guess.
Because like the whole point, like the plot of the game is that like you keep finding these Metroids in more places.
Mm-hmm.
And the space pirates are like, "I'm gonna take this energy stuff and stick it into Metroids."
And you're like, "The hell you are! I'm gonna shoot you about it."
I've done that a lot, so many times.
Listen, Samus doesn't like pirates. All right.
She's like, "I'm the only pirate. This is my ship."
And there she goes.
Yep.
That's.
I'm sure there's like some funny comment I could make here, but
I don't know enough about Metroid Prime to comment on it. I've only beaten one Metroid game in my life, so
go watch Bubba's speedrun because you can watch that whole speedrun and still have no idea what's going on.
Yeah, because you have to skip all the cutscenes. Can you skip the cutscenes?
Cutscenes.
Are there cutscenes?
There are cinematic scenes, but no cutscenes.
Oh, okay. Well then,
like there'll be moments where it's like, and you have like a new ability or something.
Oh, okay. But like, there's never like, I reach a new area now. We're gonna have some dialogue for 5 minutes.
Samus does not talk in Metroid Prime.
Oh, okay.
At least I don't remember it happening.
Oh, so like, are like the pirates speaking to you like as you're doing stuff?
Oh, they don't even speak to you. You read their logs.
Oh,
you have a scanner, and they're like putting all their stuff on computers and stuff.
Right.
And they're trying to find all of the Chozo secrets and stuff. And you're like, I can read these because I have the computer I wear in my suit. Yay!
Gotcha.
Yeah, I'm not gonna 100% it. I realized that I missed a scan, and I was like, oh, I can't 100% this anymore. Oh well.
You know, I've given up on 100%ing certain games a long time ago. I've gotten much better at evaluating which subtasks are worth my time and which ones aren't. And some
I wanted to do it. I just messed up. I was like, oh, I guess I can't do it. All right, whatever.
Like, yeah, I will
It
never.
probably
100%.
It probably made the game more fun for me this way. I still collected all the weapons and upgrades that I could find,
Yeah.
but I didn't feel the need because I couldn't do that. I didn't feel the need to go and find every single missile upgrade, and I was like, this is actually very freeing.
When I played Metroid Dread, did not collect every single thing. I collected everything like. I went out of the way whenever I could, but like if there like I would never go back to like look for an upgrade or like a missile capacity holder or whatever.
A missile capacity holder,
I don't know what they were.
or as I like to call them, MCHs.
Yeah. I don't know what you didn't you collect like? Isn't that essentially what you collect? Like things that upgrade how many missiles you hold? No, I don't remember.
Yeah, but that's just called a missile upgrade.
But I described what it was.
I did by missile capacity holders.
I hate this podcast. I quit. Wagging the finger at Matt for making fun of me.
Yeah, whatever.
Anything else you've been playing on top of Pokemon TCG Pocket?
Oh. No, I need you to play Metroid Prime Remastered. It's a great game.
I will play it one day.
No, you won't. But I want you to.
I will play it one day. I have so I used to do that with movies. I used to be like, I'll watch that movie.
Famous last words.
I used to like tell people like, yeah, I'll watch that movie. I have seen probably single-digit number of movies in the last 5 years. I'm not a movie guy. But I have now started doing that with video games, where it's like I'll get to it, and I have like a running log of like games that I want to play, and the log has like close to 100 games on it right now.
That's impressive.
There's a lot of video games, but like right now, the game that I'm grinding through, I want to play through the Yakuza series. So I am currently playing Yakuza 3, which is the 4th chronological game in the series, and I'm playing through them chronologically. And they're long games. Like they're on average like 50 to 70 hours. So it's been a grind.
How many of them have you played total so far? Because you played.
I've beaten 0, 1, and 2. And now I'm playing 3.
Didn't you play? What was the Dame Dane game?
Was that not Yakuza 0 or was that Yakuza Kiwami?
Like, was it Like a Dragon?
Well, Like a Dragon is the subtitle. So in the States, the game is called Yakuza. In Japan, the franchise is called Like a Dragon. And it's just yeah. So like the newer games in the franchise. So like the last 2 Yakuza games that came out here in the States were Yakuza Like a Dragon and then Like a Dragon Infinite Wealth. So they've moved on from Yakuza. So now.
So you haven't played Infinite Wealth then?
I have not played Infinite Wealth, which is like the newest mainline game, and a new Yakuza game did come out just a couple of weeks ago, called Yakuza Pirate in Hawaii, featuring one of the side characters, Goro Majima, who is an absolutely insane person, and I cannot wait to get there at some point in 2026.
Okay, so is Like a Dragon Infinite Wealth and Like a Dragon Pirate Yakuza in Hawaii, are those actually just
Infinite Wealth is Yakuza 8. Like a Dragon Pirate Yakuza in Hawaii is a spin-off game.
Okay. Did you play that?
No, because I'm doing them all chronologically. So those are like the last 2 in the franchise. I'm currently playing the technically oldest game in the franchise because 0 is a prequel that came out just a few years ago. And then 1 and 2 were both like fully remade in the last like 5 years.
Interesting.
Yakuza 3, I think, came out in like 2006 and just has gotten like an HD upgrade. So it's still like pretty chunky. and that's what I'm playing. Like literally, the characters look like Tony Hawk's Underground level skaters. Like
Chunky.
they look a little boxy, a little boxy.
Sponsored by Campbell's.
That's good soup.
And in the words of Hungry Box's mom, the Melee Pro, whose mom was in a Campbell's commercial, now go smash those noobs. Get the pun there? Smash.
Yeah, that's good. That's good. Well, Matt, do you have any other things you'd like to add on for today's show?
Go play Rivals of Aether 2.
I agree. Go do that thing that Matt said, or else. But I want to thank you all for listening. Thank you for hanging out and listening to this fun episode about Tony Hawk's Underground. Matt, thank you so much for being the co-host with the co-most. You can find Matt on Blue Sky and YouTube at Battleon, BATTLEXON. You might be Battle_on Blue Sky, actually.
I think I am. I finally broke the curse of the letter X.
You're no longer Battle Exxon. Bat Lexington
God, the number
is
of times,
no more.
the number of times I've heard that when, like, following someone on Twitch. Thanks, Battle Exxon.
Oh man, Battle Exxon. You can also follow the show Games of Our Lives on Apple, Spotify, and YouTube. You can see the show at Games of Our Lives on Blue Sky and on Instagram at Games of Our Pod. And my name is Bill. You can follow me at Bill the Fajita here on Twitch, on Blue Sky, or YouTube. I said here on Twitch. I'm not on Twitch streaming right now. I don't know why I said it like that, but it's because I'm staring at Streamlabs desktop, and that's my brain just thinks Twitch. Don't laugh at me. It hurts my pride.
I'm sorry.
But I hope y'all folks have a wonderful, wonderful day. Cannot wait for the next episode. And that's it. We love you.
Thanks for watching.